Okay, welcome. Hello, everyone. So we're going to do a couple more MSI reviews today. The first thing we're going to look at is this T1 Baron, Game 3, or the two T1 Barons, I can say. And then we're going to look at AL versus GenG. Now, I'll talk about the AL GenG while we're looking at that, other than the best team in the world. When we get there, I think we're going to be joined by Treats as well. But for now, we're going to look at this Baron. It shocks no one that T1 is still the best Baron team in the world. Changing out. Top laner hasn't changed that. But I want to look at it in a little bit more detail because, like, at this stage of the game, yeah, they've got the soul threat. But this is not a done deal. And then suddenly, Baron, everything, Baron. This is the first one, right? Not. Yeah. I don't know where the second one is. Oh, they actually don't do the second one? So let's just watch it quickly and then see if we can break down, like, okay, what are the actual things that are making this happen? How do they end up getting it into a 50-50 state or however it is? Again, I'll look at it in more detail. I just want to check. I feel like they did too. They did it twice. Or did they just... Maybe the second one is they didn't actually do it. They just pulled people in to the Baron and then they killed them and ended the game. Get through. Yeah, okay, so they just pulled them in and then... Okay, so for me, when you're looking at a play like this, it's always good to look a little bit behind because you want to see not only the beginning of the sequence, the beginning of like the opening that leads to T1 getting Baron, you also want to make sure that you have a bit of the flow of the game. So the big thing here is this soul point coming up at 140. Knight is massive, and I think he's even going to complete Rabadon's before the fight. But let's drop it to just T1's vision for now because we're looking at it from their side. And what I'm trying to focus on is like, okay, what are the triggers make them think that they can do this? And it'll be around, I mean, Skarner can tank Baron for a long time. So you have a tanker who's not going to be like half HP afterwards. Hey, man. Because if your tank gets to half HP, then the fight is never going to be that useful. But Skarner with the shields, stage of the game, like, it's going to not get super low. If you have like Volley Bear or someone, you can tank it forever. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big tank, but like someone with inbuilt sustain, someone who's not going to get low to Baron. So Dragon's coming up in a minute. They're playing for this mid wave. They've shifted from top so that they can have numbers on the mid wave and fight for it. They push it in, but they can't push it super deep. But now Doran's going to go back to top because Gumayushi needs to base. I'm hoping for a completed, there you go, completed Muramana. So he's spiking 30 seconds before goal. I don't think they're coming out of this base saying we're doing Baron, but I think what they are coming out of this base thinking is if they give us the space on Baron, we're going for it. Like we can trade it. We can always trade it for Baron. So BLG are already nervous about that because it's T1 and they have Rise. So Rise and Varus base, they come out of base together. Terrier hasn't put wards down. I'd like him to hold those wards until they have the chance. I hope he does. They pull the Scuttle Crab away. They smite it. Gives vision, clears vision. BLG playing on that side. Rises on mid wave. They now have 4 people on mid. They've cleared top, so Doran is coming across. So all of these are perfect setup. We've got this pushed in already. This is fine. Like they can just give this if they need to. We've got 4 people on mid lane, while enemy has 5, but Doran is coming. So we let them have dragon position. Okay, it's literally, they don't even get the wave. They don't even get the wave. They literally just, as soon as enemy commits a little bit to dragon, they just pull them instantly to Baron. So that's the first stage. It's literally just instant. I want to see as well, from this from BLG's point of view, do they see Rise? I think they haven't seen Rise. Because Faker waits in fog. At no point do they see Rise. They don't see that Rise is on mid-wave. They still don't see that Rise is on mid-wave. That's so good, actually. They blew it as the Rise. Like, this is the only time they see Rise. There's those little details that make these kind of plays ridiculous. Someone did a thing for First Stand where Delight snuck round vision and killed Vladdy, and this is the same thing. It's these small details that make these kind of plays actually work. Now, actually, to be honest, they're really close to not seeing this at all, by the way. But they do see it just the last millisecond. So again, if I show you it from T1's point of view, you'll see that Faker bases, he comes down mid, and he holds out of vision, and he holds out of vision, and he holds out of vision, and he goes on the other side of the lane to still be holding out of vision. Holding out of vision, he actually avoids this plant as well. He's out of vision this whole time, and now they see it. Okay, so T1 know they've been seen. They almost got here without being seen. But they know that they have been seen. As people are coming in, they also know that there's no enemy vision. That's also another thing. It's another like go sequence. So Renekton is half HP, so the thing about tanking wasn't exactly true. So I think they just flip it, basically. I mean, they don't. They hold some positions. They're throwing poke back and forward. They're just like forcing something to happen. Carrier had this bush and then he gave it up. He didn't go, so they didn't want to like instantly turn. The Baron is now 3k. Vi is quite far away. Gets body slammed into the pit. They're literally just using the fact that Varus Q with the W. He has W'd it, right? It's literally just Varus Q? Or not? Okay. The Varus is holding WQ. Presses it now. So they just do this because they're going to smite it at 1.9k. So they say this is not a 50-50, therefore we don't need to play for the fight. If for some reason it was 50-50, like they didn't have someone to nuke it, then I'm expecting Doran actually goes up around here, Carrier goes here where he is, and then they try and look for like engages and flanks and slow people down as they go through. I mean, if Ambessa ults here with Alistar combo still up and Renekton stun, Fury, fun time. And also got... I think if Ambessa ults in like this, 1v5... But also, I do think that the way that PLG are playing this is they think this is 50-50. But now she ults in, gets exhausted and has to instantly run. And dies instantly. So why she didn't ult in? I mean, the back of the like this fight is kind of separate to what I'm looking at for this exact play. So it's literally just okay. So now I changed my mind. When they're coming out of base, they think, okay, we have the Varus Q and Smite, so we are uncontested on Baron. If it ever gets to 2k, we can kill it. They can't, and that's literally enough. And Faker plays the vision really well around mid lane, and then they get it. But also, I think some variance in the game is not that bad when they're not in like really good spot. If you're 3 or 4k up, I don't think you ever do that. But when the game is really even, then it becomes a much better play. So current games, they also impact. I mean, if you ult before the Baron's taken, they still kill the Baron and kill you. So like if the play is bad for the fight, then it's bad for the fight before the Baron and it's bad for the fight after the Baron. Okay, so now the second one. This obviously now they are ahead. They were 4k and Soul. But maybe they're just super confident in this WQ smite thing. So they get Gragas to half HP in mid lane. Doran's on the flank. Enemy now runs and is pushed towards the dragon side. And again, they don't even kill the mid wave. Previously, in previous seasons, people used to like one-shot the mid wave and then run for it. But here, they just run for it anyway. But now they're playing much more aggressively for a fight because they're in a good fight position. Ryze comes through. Doran is waiting for them to come round. And again, if you switch position. They do see him, actually. Only for a millisecond. Technically, they do see him. But he's trying to get round without being seen. And he's there. And so there's two ways you want to do Baron. Is you want the flip, or you want it to get down to a steal, which they did the first time. And the second time, they're doing just for the fight. Let's look a little bit at this sequence. So with 150 up, they're actually pressuring on the Baron side of the map. It's up in 30. Then they get the pinks down. 2 pinks. 1, 2, 3. 3 wards. Pink on mid lane. 3 pinks now. 3 wards. So aggressively for this, we hold this vision. We don't let them clear it. Now Doran comes around. Starts tanking up the next wave, but gets pushed away so that he can't just take it. There you go. Okay. So that is the T1 Baron. Very interesting. Very worth looking at. So we're going to look at AL versus GenG next. We're going to look at kind of just as much of the series as we can do. So one of the reasons why I want to look at this is that for people who've been paying attention to our scrims, and obviously a lot more has gone on since in messages and stuff like this. We are currently sort of trying to find the balance between how aggressive we want to be and how much we want to play disciplined, on waves, that kind of thing. And for me, GenG are the best team at doing the discipline bit, and AL are the best team at doing the aggression bit. So I want to look at both. And we're going to try and sort of build some sort of system to think about these plays and to categorize these plays so that we can say, okay, this one was good even though it didn't go well. This one was bad even though it did go well. Vice versa. At the moment, this is what I'm thinking about, but it, like I said, if Eric turns on, about it again. So right plays, right level of aggression here, wrong level of aggression here, good window here, bad window here. So obviously, good window with the right level of aggression is the best, and I've intentionally not put like well executed. That's what we talked about before. It was going to be well executed, but I actually think you should ignore that when we're evaluating the plays. If we do this and we mis-execute it, it still goes in here. It was the right play and the right level of aggression. We just fucked it up. Still goes in this. Then it was a good window to do something, but there was a wrong level of aggression. So either not aggressive enough or too aggressive. And I think here I've got zero problem with us making plays in scrims because we have to learn. So when it's a good window, when it's our time to do stuff, I don't care how aggressive the play is. It's good. Then here, bad window, even with the right level of aggression, we should stop doing these in practice. This is where we kind of lose too much for the play compared to what we would get. Think the play is free, but we don't think about what we would have got instead. So like we make a big play and we make a kill, but we leave all the camps up. It's like it's actually not worth it. Like gold, you just get more gold by farming. So that will go there. Those are the ones we really need to avoid in practice. These ones we make less often. They're also where it's the wrong level of aggression, either not aggressive enough or too aggressive. That's like when we group up and we watch the dragon die and we don't get anything for it, and we also lose stuff on the other side. But we want to make sure that all our plays and scrims are these two if we can, and we avoid this one. This is the trap one where we have the right level of aggression so it actually works, but it's not on our window. So that's why we're looking at in these two games. Also, like I said, they're just the best teams. So fun to go through fairly quick, probably, so that we can start to think about these plays. Talk about the window, like when is it our window? This is why we're going to talk about it, because very easy to be like, okay, I can go through and say that was our window in hindsight. That wasn't our window. But I want to work out a way that we can have a system so that we don't have to work out, yeah, a way to do it better. So it's when there's obvious windows, like when we've got massive prio on a side lane and they group, right? That's a, right? Make sure we're doing stuff with that. But now I'm thinking with this system, maybe we need 6. What about if we have a window and we don't use it? For me, that's just as bad as making a play on a not on our window. Yeah. We'll get a little bit past the lane phase because mostly we're going to be talking about how we like playing one, start playing as a team. And this one was weirdly quiet for an AL game. It took 8 full minutes before I got killed. So they swapped to the top side. We're going to look at swaps today, but I'm not sure. The top side of the map. Start clearing out this wave. So he jumps forward by accident. I remember that. And now grubs are coming up in 2 minutes. And who's like... I don't like Kyle using flash there with 2 minutes before dragon. He trailed to heal for it, but now both bot lane don't have flash. Kai'Sa isn't going to have it for dragon either. Yeah. Back, otherwise I get confused. Okay, but then just 2v2, they get pressure here, I think. Oh, no, Pantheon. Pantheon is coming, so even though he doesn't join the play, he allows them to go for the play. But it's still important that Pantheon's there, because they can go forward knowing that, like, if it's in here, it doesn't matter. Then they clear it. This wave, reset for the dragon, for the grubs. They're going to be a little bit out on the map ahead of Ruler. But let's see what they do. But mid lane is being pushed in, and he kind of wants to save stun, but have the wave. Because Rel has to be through mid. The Rel had to be through mid, so that meant that they lost prio on top side, but Kai'Sa has ult, so can join, and it's better to join from the side than any other AD carry. I mean, maybe Jin can just like flash. Ult. But they pushed them out because they pushed the mid lane. Kai'Sa is still unconnected. And Annie's had to go back to mid. So they come back through. Now on TPs. Honestly, like when you've got one grub, I would just say fuck it, no? And just TP bot. Chovy has no TP. Keen is TPing away. You take one grub and you take this and plates and you push through mid and then you instantly run and do dragon. But that's not really in the mindset. Not really in the AL mindset. They just scrap for it anyway afterwards. Well, they don't know they're TPing. Oh, yeah. Because Annie has no ult, so even though Chovy's really low. Nice combo, really terrible engage, and no flash from Kyle like he talks about. He's already dead, which means as soon as yeah, and Chovy just spends time fucking with them even though he's half HP. Yeah. I mean, luckily Flandre, sorry, does loads of work back. The back end of the fight. Okay, so 3 for 3 on that. This kind of thing, right? So Jin is based. So this is a good window for a play for AL. Jin bases. So any play here is good. We don't need to worry about bot lane. Don't need to worry about top lane. Our supporters will join first. Chovy's basing, Jin is basing. So like any of this play is bad window for GenG. Don't care if it worked, it's a mistake. And so Tarzan just is like, anything is good here, guys. So they go forward. Hey, Val. And they're able to get this and then the other grub as well. So big mistake from GenG, punished well. People basing. No. We've only been doing evening scrims. Janko's co-streaming MSI, so stream starts at 9 or 2 in the morning, and then it ends at like 7 in the morning. So we originally booked a bunch of day scrims because he thought he'd be up by 2. And he is up by 2 sometimes, but the problem is that if you start streaming at 2 and you stop streaming at 7 a.m., that's so tough. So we've had to move to evening scrims. So we're only going to do evening scrims for a decent amount of time now, which is really, really annoying. Appointment. Then they push up this next mid wave. Kaiser's moved across. So they're going to take the dragon. Someone's going to have to go top. Maybe Flandre just... Yeah. So they're shifting across because they shift to the person with TP, and then the person with TP just TPs to the other side to cover. Okay. Put the pressure under the tower. They see people on the other side, so... So they want to, like... So they see people on the other side, so they want to make this play no matter what. So again, if we compare it to our system, this is a window for a fast play. Because even though TP can come in here to save this, that's 2v2. So Chovy plays it insanely well. And therefore gets away. They get flash and TP. Flash. But this was a window for a good play. On that side of the map. So I think maybe the window is literally as simple as, like, can we have match numbers? Side. Maybe it's that. I need to find a way to define it because I don't think it's actually. Because now this one, we can't have match numbers. They have 4. Well, we have 4 once Pantheon gets it. But if Pantheon's not owing in, we don't have. So here, I think contesting this river is only a good play if they're saying, like, you be here, Tarzan. Tarzan can actually be here. There's no camps, but he's 2/3 HP. So now Ornn shifts across. I mean, Annie pushes this wave in and then finally TPs, but actually. I mean, it's literally just if you have tempo over the area, then. So this is GenG. Time to go in the river. While people facing. They get to do a play on bot lane or on the jungle. They tried to go for bot lane and they've gone for the jungle, but either way. Now they push towards that side. Kyle goes forward. Tibbers comes down to get some damage down, but Dragon is coming up and it's just Alistar who's half HP. Alistar being half HP is not bad though, because of when he's with his ult, it's kind of annoying for Alistar to be half HP. If he's full HP, he's like, okay, I probably won't get insta burst, so I can take damage and then ult. On that HP, maybe he's fine as well. But as they commit to bot side, they play on this side of the map. I don't like this TP to mid. I would rather run this to top lane, to be honest. I would rather just full play away. You've already lost the dragon. Just leg it to top lane with this herald, and I think maybe take it. You get there so much faster than anyone else, and no one has to get there. Okay. Why again? If we're trying to, I'm thinking mostly about this thing. If I could find a way to crystallize it, like why is this bad one? I mean, it's because they only have 2 numbers. It's going to be a 2v2 here because guys are getting fast. Just like the window is like, I don't know, if we win the fight with even numbers, with the amount of people who can get there, and there's not other stuff to do, it's not simple yet. Game plans are mostly static. No, I completely disagree. I think game plans are mostly dynamic. Some small parts of them are static, but they're mostly dynamic. Does it make a big difference to play Spellbook as important as Aftershock? It will make the lane harder, but anytime you can get away with it, it's good, basically. Literally anytime any laner can get away, any champion in the game can get away with having, like they don't need a keystone, then take Spellbook. Really broken. This is incompetitive. I think probably in solo queue too, but especially. So in this matchup, they need it. They think they need it. But if it's an easier matchup, they just... I think between T1 and... I mean, I think you have to say GenG, but, there's always that... There's that little bit of doubt now that it's an international, and now we've seen some aura games from T1. I think BLG are much worse than AL. And so, but this game was much closer. I do think GenG. The Rumble. Okay, so again, like trying to work out a simple way, or again, always as simple as possible, way of conceptualizing this idea of a window that can actually be consistent, not just like we know it when we see it, because that's always a bit messy. But they engaged this. Nice follow up. Price gets caught in mid lane completely. But this is going to be a 5v5 basically. Like both teams know that this might well be a 5v5. Annie is already looking BTPing. She plays this wave. Now she has time to TP and join. What are we fighting for? Nothing. Vision in this bush. Annie's TPing. But we can go up and fight for vision in this bush because Annie can TP. If Annie can't TP for some reason, then we can't fight for it. Get Jin cleanse. Next thing, diving on Jin to get a splash. Where's this planting coming? I'm so glad Tarzan, like, at international events, like, actually doing well. And then they just keep diving. And they... because she doesn't... So Annie doesn't... If there's, like, a wave that she needs to deal with, she has stuff that she needs to do. But Annie doesn't necessarily have a job here. So, look, even before the fight starts, she's already starting to move. She doesn't want... She's not someone who can be, like, pressuring this tower. Not someone who can, like... Trying to think... I mean, if this is Azir with the Nashers already... You just stay pushing this, right? You play a little bit safer on this side because you need to wait before someone matches. But Annie's push is so much worse than the team fight's better. So he's already coming to join no matter what. And then Kyle's going forward and contesting this bush because Annie is coming down. And he just thinks that he needs the TP and Chovy doesn't. So they make a split-second decision and they make different decisions. The fight is a little bit closer to Chovy. So he gets there a little bit faster than Annie would if they both walk. And then they just keep going. Go forward, forward, forward. Okay, so it's just the classic. I don't know if anyone remembered this from now a decade ago. They used to talk about DP. It was like dude potential. They meant. I think they even about it in like a spotlight or something. The DP was like Garen in the bush. I'll check that before I tell the team to it. But yeah, so as long as like we can match numbers and we win with match numbers, or we have an outnumbered situation, we're outnumbered, and we don't have anything else to do. That's all I've got so far, and I still don't like that. As what is a window? And is it our window? It's better than nothing, right? I hate when people try to walk to a team fight and then decide to TP halfway. I mean, this time at least in Shanks' defense, he shouldn't TP now. He should start walking because they know they want to start contesting this and they want to contest this. He's just moving his pressure because even if nothing happens, he can't really achieve anything here. So he's moving his pressure no matter what. And then as soon as the fight actually starts, like if GenG just give this, then he just fully walks. But I know what you mean. It's hard to judge, especially now that they've changed TP. It's really hard to judge. Okay, this was worth the TP and this wasn't, and you'll see even the best players in the world will constantly make that mistake. Either way, they'll either TP when they shouldn't, or they won't TP when they should. So while you have push in this side, you don't really have pressure on the side because again, Annie can't really pressure this turret in any meaningful way. Ornn can just move back across and clear it fine, and can't pressure him really, or hit the tower, and she can't like be hitting it when Ornn's not there. We've got Atakan on this side of the map, so the only objective that's up is this side. But what LPL teams really like to do is they fight for summoners. They fight when they get a window to fight. They fight anyway, even if there's no objective. And that's, I think, the important thing that we need to make sure we don't lose. Because in LEC, you just never fight until there's an objective. And then you never fight until there's the next objective. And the problem is that whenever you come up against teams who realize that the game exists around the whole time, doesn't exist only every 5 minutes when Dragon's up, you end up just getting like caught a lot. Like if in the G2 BLG game, they were just getting caught all the time. I think that's one of the symptoms of this kind of problem. So Annie doesn't have anything to do with her time, so she moves across. If they both keep hitting, Aurora puts more pressure down here anyway. I mean, obviously, wouldn't let Aurora push either. So both people are moving because while they have a wave pushed inside, they don't really have pressure on sides. So I like the way you said it, pressure on sides. That's a different thing than just I pushed a wave in. But like I said, if this is Yone or if this is Azir, so people who both hit towers fast and most importantly can get away. Annie can't get away. If she's pushing up here, she's mega dangerous. So people, unless everyone is showing, Annie can't be tower because Ornalt could come from the side. Or so yeah, it's a good way to think about it. So then they win the fight. Then they get the Atakan as well. Atakan is obviously better for LPL teams than it is for anyone else. Because there's more fighting, so there's more plants. And there's more fighting, so there's more of the explosion damage. Atakan is LPL buff. Unfair. This is a little weird. I mean, Rumble just wants to clear this one wave. Then he's going to TP. Ornn shows on mid, which means they get this mid wave because while Rumble's doing this, they don't have time around here. Now Rumble then is freed up to TP. But this time he is walking up and then he TPs. So it's not like he was already trying to move because he knows he's never going to be in time. Or they can if he can get the next wave. And now it's about how they're going to contest this. GenG holding this bush. So even though they're behind, they're still obviously a big problem. But there's enough people who can test. And now, because of this earlier fight, Jhin has no summoners. So yeah, we don't have summoners either, but Jhin doesn't have summoners. And no one has flash except for Kanye. So they just insta-go on the Jhin. Rumble, even though really nice interrupt. Rumble and Pantheon, amazing interrupt. Jhin still gets killed by Kai'Sa on the backside. And the Rumble actually ends up being good because as everyone tries to kill the Jhin, everyone runs into it, right? How we're in a situation where you go for the Jhin and other people die first. Oh! He lives because of his unending despair 100 heal. Okay, but Chovy gets interrupted. That's the end of it, pretty much. Okay. Okay, so I think we're starting to find something this year. T1 already showed the blueprint to beat BLG. Yeah, I think one of the things like T1 are insanely good against LPL teams, and for me, and obviously I'm biased the way I like to think about things, so I'm obviously going to say it works. But for me, I think if you start thinking about teams as like playing for different things or wanting different things, you see that it doesn't shock me that for the last whatever ever maybe T1 are better against LPL teams than even better LCK teams. If that makes sense. So like T1 have a better record against LPL than GenG, for example, even though GenG have clearly been the better team. So for me, it's because T1 play mega hard for tempo. And when you're doing this, like looking for fights and stuff like that and perma grouping and trying to fight for random things, if the enemy team is very quick on using the tempo of the fact that you're grouped up and using that to punish you, then it can be bad. and much more punishing. Hey, Rock. But also, it's just fucking T1 aura at the end of the day. When are those games? Are they tonight? Fly and LG1 and... Oh wait, there's one a day now, right? Rather than 2 a day? So it's FlyQuest versus BLG. Who's playing AL? T1 versus GenG in the upper bracket. Is that the upper bracket final? Maybe. Look. Okay. Yeah, upper bracket final. Okay, and then AL versus CFO. Well, that'll be fun as well. That's, by the way, that is going to be so many kills. I think. I love this 7-man roster, or 6-man roster, by the way. More people do it, and I just tragedy they haven't. They've only ever done it like accidentally. They're like, oh, we can't decide who's better between these two, or one person's still on contract. Add that to the long list of things that we haven't done any sort of canyon. I don't remember this. He literally just they invades, they start as raptors. Just like, okay, I'll smite it. If I get the smite, oh no, okay, right, it's Mondo. I was like, I thought it was Jack's jungle. I think this is not worth it. He's gonna have to TP. Slows Nocturne down a bit, but that gives you advantage to Poppy. Poppy, I don't think maybe can punish. But I think this matchup, like, you don't want to be a full wave down. I guess they can't dive. Okay, he's got his door and shield. He's got his biscuit coming. Fine. Yeah, I think Shanks has been really good. Again, I'm going to kind of skip through this stuff to try and find those things. Thinking about, like, when is it a window? Professional teams get access to the replay files. I've said this many times. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to show them. If they tell me I'm not allowed to show them, then we'll go back to doing it the other way and I'll remove all the VODs. Almost gets out. I think CFO should stick to their 6-man roster for sure. I think having multiple options in Fearless is so useful. Because, like, carries can be gone and then you start playing tank. And I think you could definitely do the same thing in the jungle at the moment, where you have, like, a bunch of bruisers. There's, like, Lee Sin, Pantheon, Xin, Bai, and then you go to tanks, Poppy, Maokai, Sedge. The only big problem with that is that you might start to get a bit too predictable, where it's like, if your tank player is playing, they're going to try and play for Maokai. Like seeing what champs are available and then putting in your roster, that's a cool dynamic. I don't know if it'll ever actually be that useful, but if it is, it's super cool. So just trading both sides, both objectives. I don't think teams really know how to use 5. I mean, CFO have been doing it intentionally to great success for a year. So I know what you mean. They're the exception. And they should keep doing it. Because they literally have said they wouldn't have won if it hadn't been for that. I think they're right. Always good to have an exception that you can point to. So now if you're in the LEC and you want to actually try anything a little bit different and try this kind of thing, say, well, look at CFO. They're also with no budget compared to us, better. Didn't have the files at the beginning of the year though. I didn't use them. Basically, when we first joined the LEC, we were told you're not allowed to use raffle files in content because and so I've been telling other people that as well. But it's now been a while. I also think one of the reasons why they did that is because they were trying to sell ProView. So why would you watch ProView without looking at this? So for example, players like Dwairu and Hido have already a bunch of times said, "Can I have this game? Can I have this game? Or this game or that game?" Or first, so they can review. So I think didn't want to do that. Didn't want to let people see profile files. I don't know why they're not even public. Fine. But yeah, now I'm just doing it. Like I say, could be that I get a message right at some point saying you've got to take all of these down, in which case I absolutely will, and I won't do it again. But now we're going to keep doing this because I want to do it like this because that's how I would do if I wasn't streaming everything, and so I'm just going to stream it for you guys. Yeah. Do you think T1 underperformed in the series against CFO? I think T1 massively ramp up as tournaments go on. They spend a lot of time talking about draft. I also think T1 is going to ramp up anyway. But also they seem to really thrive under the pressure and other people crumble a bit against them. They have this massive aura thing, which genuinely is a big deal. People play differently against T1. Which is weird considering they're quite clearly not the best Korean team and haven't been. People still play differently against them. So I think they did underperform. Well, not really, to be honest. I thought that was the level of T1. But now I've seen the BLG game. I guess they did underperform. I think the BLG game, they overperformed. By the way. CFO are a good team. The massive advantage obviously CFO have is they have the ability to scrim But I would guess it's kind of like ERL, that they scrim the bottom teams at best. Okay, so it ends up just being a 5v5. So again, if we're thinking about like windows and stuff, this is not exactly mega useful. If he gets a nice ult while Keen clean them up, it almost goes insanely well, but not quite. Get back into this game. So 2 dragons for the side of GenG and a bunch of scaling. They've got Senna, they've got Azir, and that's so annoying because yeah, it could mean that you force them into fights around the next dragons, but it also could mean you just do nothing and for 10 minutes it doesn't matter. Because Azir Senna later on, and when? Obviously Jack scales well, but when? This kind of against CFO. Yeah, the Senna draft I really didn't like. CFO. So like I said, Azir much more pressure on side lane. Now he's got Nash as well. He just wants to get loads of gold downside. Don't like giving Chovy Azir, guys. For future teams. Can we not give Chovy Azir? Champion who can get himself loads of gold and does really well with lots of gold and scales insanely well. They want to play this with the Poppy ult, but Poppy, no one comes in range, so they're now trying to wait it off, I guess. Braum tanks the hook. Would be a nice engage, but Poppy is now just left alone. It's kind of doomed already. I'm not a big fan of TF. I'm not a big fan of TF drafts. Actually, to be honest, I think the best TF draft was one of the Koi or G, where they had Diego and stuff like that. And I think it was a terrible game to do it if you look at the opposition. But I love the idea of the draft. Like TF, I can't remember who else. But basically, TF and a bunch of single target damage and then a reset. So like they got single target CC, single target damage, maybe Pantheon as well. Like those kind of things. Oh no, it can't be Pantheon. TF, Diego, can't remember what. Quickly look it up. Okay. Maybe it was Koi. Last check and then... Okay, I finally found it. No, didn't find it. Ah. Okay, well anyway, there was a game with TF. I think TF into a bunch of single target damage, like when it gets reset. That's where I can like the TF. But in general, not a big fan. Okay, so this one already not going to be super useful. This whole like Windows thing. Let me look at why they start this Atakan. They have this put, so they catch bot wave really top wave really high, and they've also killed mid. Those two things are already like okay, let's an Atakan start. So the side lane high and mid lane. What do you see if TF ult during not? You see nothing. STF. Nocturne sees. Nocturne doesn't get any extra vision anyway, so. What was that? What happened with Nautilus here? Nautilus can Spider-Man himself back, but I don't think that's what he did. Okay, so could be really good. Excuse me? What? What? He hooked the wall, so he's trying to like Spider-Man himself, like as in you throw the hook so that as you get hit, the hook lands and then you get pulled back and you can sometimes see like fly over here as the hook lands onto this or whatever. But he's hooking something really close. But the thing that's crazy is not only that, he gets over the other side of the wall. And it's a better side of the wall to be on. So look. Tennis done. Cleanses it off. So he's trying to hook so that he needs to throw out the hook, then get hit by the poppy ult, then the hook needs to land. So that is okay. He did that actually the right timing. But then he just ends up on the other side of the wall. So that's actually really useful because now he's nearer the TF. And now TF has to flash, otherwise he gets stunned by Nautilus. That is a strange one. Now they take over the dragon again. I mean the Atakan again. But on the back end. This is more like the whole fight. So this is not the point of the game that I'm focused on. And this is what quite often happens and should happen if you're coaching and you're reviewing games. Like, there's too much. Review it all. Absolutely exhausting. Not even that useful. What I'm trying to review is just like, how do we define this like with those? How do we define the timers? So in the first game, there was a few really good examples. In this game so far, I don't really think I've had any unless I really... So I'm going to let this play out. Quickly go to the toilet, come back, but probably after that we'll just move on to the game. I'm probably only going to do this for another like half an hour, and then stream because I'm going to look at lane swaps off stream. So we'll do that for now. I'll leave this just playing out so you guys. Okay, so next game. I think it's probably just going to be more likely that the games that AL win are the games that are going to be more useful, like finding. Yeah, because this one again is like really kind of slow and chill. Dive because of the cross map. 4. Thanks. Pretty spot. They go and buy no ult at the start. League. How do you find it? Starting to play after you've watched competitive. It's not the same. And it's weird. And it's toxic. Oh, wait. Also, we're gradually starting to make a Discord. That's not going to work on YouTube. Oh. Okay. Discord. At the moment, there's nothing really there, but it will gradually change. More like talking, staying up to date, asking questions, kind of things. That will be #1 place. So they start the grubs. Just another 5v5. Okay. Diggs is pushing up mid lane. Going through quite fast because, like I say, these kind of games are a little bit more organized, a little bit more simple. Are probably less going to have these opportunities where people take advantage of like, good aggressive plays. Click back. Wall comes in. Final is random. And the back end of this fight is like second phase of these fights. Actually, both sides have some. Cyanot gets used for kind of nothing. Trundle ults someone but gets knocked back in and then gets literally just one tap. He's way too far forward and then Varus also gets jumped on with the flash. Also is really hard in the draft. Because you don't have that much threat on Ruler this time. And the extra range, Varus gets punished by being outranged. But someone like Biggs can really make Varus' life miserable. I don't mind the Trundle and the Scion combo because you're taking away the person who's really good at stopping the tanks. By Ambesso, diving combo is always annoying, especially when you're against like a bunch of mobile people. Now they just know that they have to use everything on Shanks. Stop him. Getting a battle scale again. Because the fights just become harder and harder later on because you have more pressure to go in on Biggs, but also you get more one-shot as a Kali. And I think he does his absolute best, but they just are always going to save everything for him and everyone else on his team is just die. They can literally not use Viol and win the rest of the fight. Save it for a Kali win. And now these big lull periods as well, not good for teams like AL. double TP here. It's actually like, even though they're in a situation where they end up getting so many people to this play, get 4 people to this play. Again, I would say, no, there's no mid wave though. There's no mid wave and there's no on bots. That's a can just like gets pulled around and does this little like spin thing. Just, I really like this having this extra objective in a slightly different place. Again, very interesting. So the gold is still close, but maybe, I mean, Scion scales well, but I do think with these double divers and stuff like that, it could be very different. Like, if Braum was still in the game, like that. Biggs just gets caught. Mega in. So they keep up, and they get the dragon as well, and they get the Atakan as well. This is now starting to be a, like with the Atakan as well, like. They just pressure around, push back and forward. But I think by the time the next fights start, they just... Ziggs doesn't run by himself. Look at this last fight, because this was the one that gives them Baron, and it then gives them the game. I think it's the same thing. I think they just... Akali doesn't get to jump on someone, because last time Ziggs was so separate that there's no way to double dive on Akali. Some poke coming back and forward. Trundle just gets shredded already, though. Redemption comes through. At this point, you're not playing for the dragon, you're just playing for the fight. So they ult the Trundle. Sorry, the Ambessa. Sion ult is terrible. And he just gets flicked back. And Sion is just dying, and like, you can't... Like, Ambessa just kites people around. Sion is dying anyway without them even using anything. They're still just saving everything when people get in. Then it's doom. Okay. So that's that one. Let's look at game 4 as well then. So game 4 is the last AL win. like the smolder into the Cassandra line to actually punish it.
Minions have spawned.
Okay. So again, we'll skip kind of through the lane phase. Really happy with how we can define this. Plus, with conversations with the players, I think we can get something that's actually useful, and hopefully you'll see it in our scrim. Scrims this evening. We're doing a meeting from 5. I'm not sure if that'll be streamed or not. And then starts at 5:45. This swap is what it is. Good with Smolder being able to just push that last wave in as the swap comes through. Most teams seem to be pretty much swapping anyway. Skank. So you trade top gank for the dragon. Use this to take camp. I don't think so. They're scared of it, but I don't think. There's danger pings coming out of any camps. I mean, I do record most of our meetings, right? Just not all. So, well, normally it's all last 2 splits, but now it's we've got the opportunity to. But the next things definitely won't be when we define like when we're going to swap them or not. Look at this. So top lane is 2v2, but Galio can join with. Oh, this is actually. But their bot lane mid. So Galio crashes this wave in mid. That's interesting. So now they're going to go up mid lane instead. Because that's neat. Because Galio can go top lane and get pushed in and still join the grub fight. Whereas if these guys go top and get pushed in, then they can't join. So they get to choose which of these 2 lanes to go to, and they go to the front. They can't get pushed because they had equal tempo on these 2. So if they both went top, then 2v2 fight gets pushed, and GenG get that. So they get pushed up here, which allows them to come in and control, and then because GenG were already committed to these sides, they just do the same thing again. So they're going to get pushed in mid. Enemy gets pushed in top, but top can join with global. Clovey gets pushed in. Because very strong at this stage. And now they've started this. Or they pushed them away, I should say. Smite 1. They go for the Caitlyn. As soon as that comes in, like that just provides so much pressure on that side. Flash and cleanse to get out. They get all the summoners. The other thing I could do is record these meetings as well. But now everyone's kind of settled in, so there's less of those moments where it's like, okay, there's a window to do stuff here. And probably now, it's hard obviously after an hour and a bit of doing the review. Probably now it's going to be more likely situations where there was a window and we didn't do anything, rather than the opposite. Like Smolder roam to mid there, so they have outnumbered. They are outnumbering on mid. Okay, so it's still just like trading pushes, trading who goes where. He's still at kill. 2 dragons already on the side of GenG. One was for the trade, or both are for trades, other thing. Trade for the gank and trade for the objective. But they've got the grubs and they've got the Smolder who's going to be scaling up. And Caitlyn Karma later can be really problematic. You really have to play just purely with your summon. Like walking up when you don't have sums. This comp is done. So Gallo gets pushing bot, so they come to this side. They can make any play because just get forward and they do get the Caitlyn. Caitlyn has cleanse. Okay, cleanse through. Flashes forward. So Caitlyn uses both summoners but does get out. So they get the objective, and the big thing is they use spoiler. And now they crash in. Taylor gets caught overextending. MF has to flash as well with the Jarvan, golden Jarvan ult. At this stage, it's still like not mega one-sided or anything like that. Not like GenG win if AL don't snowball on them. Smolder is starting to become a problem in terms of stacks. How many stacks? 160. Okay, not actually that much. I guess with all the swaps and stuff, it doesn't help. Can't just be sitting there hitting something. Press the wrong button. Try to slow it down and sped it up instead. So both top laners are just going to TP mid lane because they're way too far away. Play with like globals or anything like that. Okay, no, Galio is going to. Chovy TP is very deep. Normally you wouldn't have seen that, of course, but now he flies over these wards. So they should know he's there. But Caitlyn still no summoners. And you can't fight this, guys. With Kate summoners down, like, I think, honestly, maybe you don't. It feels bad to give the dragon just because Caitlyn summoners are down, but, like, you have to be so careful in this fight. Cassante really has to block the Jarvan engage, and it's so hard to do. Because they just get mega womboed. And they lose this. And now they lose mid as well. And still, while Caitlyn summoners are down. Summoner's back on Kate. Pretty much back on everybody, right? Tarzan. Oh, they just make a play on the other side while Atakan's up. So enemy is going for Atakan, but they make a play on that side, and then Jarvan just instantly legs it across, even using like flag and drag. Galio still has TP because he didn't before. They can't even display. One play they have doesn't work. Now it's going to be outnumbered situation on this top side. Farmer's basing. I don't know if they saw that. Atakan is going spinny. But now Caitlyn's top, so they have tempo over here. So again, they're fighting because they have a window on this side of the map, not because they have anything they need to gain. But this play is good because Caitlyn is showing top. They kill Silas, and they steal a bunch of camps. And they lose top for it, but they probably were losing top anyway. Why don't they just give this up? It's just lost mid, lost top prior. So there's just no way to get there. Feels bad. But because they put all their positioning on there, or on Atakan on the top side, they're going to leave the dragon. There's going to be 2 dragons. Okay, did not. Actually, they don't start it straight away. Because they want to play for this next mid wave. This next mid wave that's coming in is going to be really important. So 3 people there for GenG. Everyone basically there for... They chunk the... Sanse, who's going to base and look for TP. They still don't start it. Now TP comes through. Kate doesn't even use any summoners. But it does like halt everything, and now Cassante is just going to die in the front line. Now they can peel back as well. Galio ult was saved. So they're just... Yeah. Okay. Right, so I think then... It's our window to play is if we can get even or more numbers, or we can get basically the amount of numbers that we need to win. If we're behind, we need to be able to get more numbers, and if we're ahead, we get less. But basically, if we can get even numbers there and there's nothing else to do. If we can get even numbers, maybe we just say like, if we can get even numbers there, it's our window. But if, for example, the jungler has 6 camps up and it's a farming jungler, he be there? I think you have to say no. And you say that's not a window because jungle can't be there because he has camps. It's like, can we play here? Everyone says like, I can be there, I can't be there. Maybe it'll be something like that. We'll keep progressing it as we go through in the day, but I'm going to call it there because I'm going to go and get some lunch quickly before we talk about lane swaps. Lane swaps will be off stream. So I'm going to start streaming again from 5, maybe 5:45 at the 5:45 will be Brims, but 5 we're having a meeting before, which I'm sure we'll do in streaming. I think if no one else is already streaming and wants to join, then I think we won't stream. But if some people who really want to join are already streaming, maybe we'll be fine. But it won't be particularly, it'll be very in-depth. It'll be interesting for you guys probably, but not for necessarily the players, viewers. All right. I will see you guys later today then.